that, and this is going to delay Bigatron for a long time, and that could actually give the upper hand to Damwonkia in this case. 2 eliminations and 4th place guarantees. Bigatron have to delay this. They're going to prioritize going into the circle, I think. You can see them moving there in the distance. 2 more first hits only for Revo, and he has to use the bandages to try to heal up back now, right now. And circle, next circle's going to pop. It's going to do even more damage. He's going to be forced to be using the first hits. Schweppes and Fluke still alive and doing well, but the circle has gone west, as you saw there on the top right minimap. With Bigatron, 3 guys alive, it's looking really good. Revo's going to be found by Genfos. Pops out, finds Genfos. That is crazy. Plus, he put a little bit of damage towards him. The question is, are we going to see an elimination more going their way? Or is this going to be the opening that Vampire or potentially Damwonkia needed?
Yeah, and that's exactly the opening that Vampire Esports, you can see, as soon as that knock went down, they started to move up, and they started to position themselves a little bit better here for the fight that's going to happen with Damwonkia. Damwonkia still has 3 players. Come down if Fluke can use this cover that he has to at least get a knock. Being able to connect with some shots. He is going to be able to knock one of the players there from Damwonkia. Does he have any extra utilities that he can throw? He's not going to have any. Can he get any other knock? You can see the other Vampire Esports player is just going to be laying down. He's going to be able to see somebody there from Junie. Junie, he also is able to knock Junie. Can he also knock soon? Here comes the 1v1. He's not going to be able to, but at least he was able to knock 2 players there from them. Yeah, this is going to be huge for Bigatron. Bigatron is going to end up pushing the action here, and it's going to be looking like a Bigatron win.
Yeah, Bigatron with 9 eliminations so far. 2 more to potentially be picked up. But I think Song is just going to deny this case here. That he doesn't want to give up the points for this situation. So it could be the very first Bigatron Red Aliens win here for the PMWI Afterparty Showdown. That is great. Good to see here for these guys to redeem themselves. And obviously they've had somewhat of a rough run, but now, as you were talking about, they could be pushing themselves up to 3rd place, Seven.
Yeah, they definitely had a super rough run. I think from the chance that I got to talk with Suxty earlier today, he was telling me that they've been getting very unlucky with certain rotations that they've been having to do. Also, they haven't really been blessed by the circles as much as some of the other teams have been blessed. Good to see that they're able to get the win. And as I was saying, yes, we're talking about Vampire Esports, we're talking about Alpha 7 fighting for that 1-2. But I mean, I think Bigatron might be pushing for the 3rd place.
Yeah, for sure, and we're going to see more about that once we go to the match standing, sponsored by STC and presented by our fantastic disc with our failed captain, Jason Kaplan.
Thank you, Russian Arnold Schwarzenegger. Bigatron Red Aliens, 19 points for themselves. Finally, as you said, getting themselves a victory. The question is it coming too late? First place is going to be out of their reach. However, some extra money could be going their way as they over double, I believe, their earnings in that last match alone. Damwonkia coming in big, though, with 9 points, and Vampire Esports with 8. Keep in mind, there's a 2-point difference between Vampire and Alpha 7, so not going to quite claw away at that lead, but at least making it a little bit closer.
Yeah, just making it closer. I'm telling you, it's going to be down to that last game between Vampire Esports and Alpha 7 on Miramar is going to be exactly happening that way. I believe, at least we'll have to see. But, I mean, BTR, I was a little bit scared that game, James, because we were seeing them have this massive split for the longest time. Like, if a team decides to crash on one of their locations, it could get a little bit dicey. But luckily enough, at the end, they regroup, they get the win.
Yeah, pretty steady pace for them to approach the circle and hold down many of the angles. I think they also benefited from the fact that a lot of the teams coming in from the east as well as the west side from them came in pretty wounded again, like kind of 2 members of each squad as they kind of was the bleed off. And of course, in this game, there was a massive cluster of teams fighting out from the very word go in the northeast, which makes it even easier to move through Karakin here.
Yeah, making it easier to move through Karakin, but again, obviously as we do progress through, we're going back to a little bit of normality here for the teams. We have Sandhawk and Miramar to come up next, so none of the newer maps can be coming in. Sandhawk's going to be quite interesting as well because we did have Vampire win the last 2 matches of yesterday, but we've seen Alpha 7 be extremely strong as well in those maps in our prior days. But this was a nice little shot at BTR. Again, I feel like every single global event we ever do, they always do have that like one pop-off game. They always at least get 1 chicken dinner throughout the event.
Yeah, I think we can expect that to happen in these last 2 games potentially. We'll have to see. But in this game in particular, what we saw again, we're seeing the shotguns come into play. We saw some DBS, we saw some Saiga. I feel like this tournament's got a meta of its own with the shotguns, it seems. And,
I feel like it's been one of my favorite developments in kind of current meta as it does stand, the fact that shotguns have become quite prevalent. I'm hoping that we see it more on the next stages. And next stages, of course, teams like Damwonkia are always going to bring it into those big tournaments. But I think it could, continue to kind of roll through a lot of these teams to at least have 1 or 2 on your team.
Exactly, like there's no downside to having at least
Not
one or two
really,
on
no.
your side. And if you're fighting against an AR and you get in the right range and you hit your shot, the shotgun wins like pretty much 100% of the time.
Yeah.
If you hit the shots, of course.
Especially because in a loadout, in a full loadout, the M4 is so versatile. A lot of the teams will navigate back to the M4, right? And just have that for their close range, even the long range, 6x sprays, etc., and things like that. So having a shotgun is very nice for the close range.
Question comes, when or will it be potentially nerfed someday in the future? Once people see in competitive play, it starts to work extremely well, at least at this level of play, because there's a lot of close proximity fights.
Yeah. In normal play, it leaves you a little bit vulnerable sometimes, right? Like you're not quite as well adapted, you know, and adept as these pro players. So obviously they know exactly when to be switching out. If you've got a shotgun and you're running through certain areas and stuff like that, you are vulnerable to still kind of those mid-range weapons that are going to vastly out-superior the position of those shotguns. So
yeah, I mean, I play the M4. If they nerf it, and I already struggle to hit my shots right now, it's going to be even worse. So I just leave it like that. It's fine.
Arguably the best gun, the M4. So
I mean, at our level, as you're saying, it's a... I mean, some of us could use it. I mean, 7, he could probably use it pretty well. The rest of us are just like, we can't hit the broadside of a barn with a shotgun. Let's take a look, though, at our overalls here so far in the event. Actually, to be fair, Kalaris definitely could if you've seen him play.
Thank you.
I'll give you the credit. We already know what Max Ben can do when it came to PMCOs, but Alpha 7, 10 points in the lead, though, with 2 matches left. Very possible here for Vampire Esports to take over the lead, but Alpha 7 have not really taken the lead in first place. They've also taken the money lead.
But what a huge jump for Biggitron Red Aliens, right? I mean,
Huge.
Of course, they were in a position where they didn't have much money, didn't really have a win on the board, but still had quite a lot of points. This has rocketed them up on Karakin of all maps to be able to have this big jump up. Very impressive.
Yeah, exactly. Even though we know it's still like a competition between only Vampire and Alpha 7 for the trophy this time around, it is still pretty decent prize pool in 3rd place, right? So BTR definitely a big step up, and it's good to see Indonesia potentially able to get himself on the podium at the end.
Yeah, honestly, I think for the region as well, we think back to Morph, right? Last week in the main event, didn't fare too well, unfortunately. Obviously, Indonesia is a massive supporter of BTR, and they have a lot of pressure. I think, to be honest, almost out of any region in the world except maybe China, I think Indonesia has the most pressure when it comes to their teams to perform. When you do well, they love you. When you don't do well, they don't love you quite as much. And especially Nunda, you're going to have the finals of PMGC in Indonesia too. That's going to be an extra layer of pressure, right? So that's if BTR make it there, I mean, I'm telling you, the fans are going to go wild. Or the
so
fifth
many
man.
good teams. All right.
I was going to go in a shot just because you couldn't see it. We can see, though, a minute 30 left to go until we do head into Sandhawk. And now, I haven't done predictions with you gentlemen just yet, but I want to ask the predictions now here. Maybe not in the last match. Who do you have taking Sandhawk?
For this game, I'd like to see S2G. No, they dominate when it comes to Paradise versus RA. I want to see them come back in this 3rd day, so S2G. There you go.
The Bootcamp Boys, Stalwart. Let's do it.
Oh.
There's no team called the Bootcamp Boys, Max.
I was like, wait a minute. No.
There could be.
Exist.
Maybe that's what we can rename our group to instead of what we currently are named.
No, Soccer Crowd is the best.
Yeah, definitely. Big shout out here to Savvy Gaming Group for being one of the big sponsors here at this event. Again, without them, this would not all be possible. Also, for you guys at home, whether you can't, well, obviously you can't win the money here, but you can get a free permanent legendary set during the Vibe and Drive event currently going on within PUBG Mobile. Make sure you get your friends together, complete the missions, and collect your rewards. And my reward for having a fantastic desk segment here is to be able to listen to our 2 commentators, the 7 Worlds Gaming and Avenger.
Oh, that's so nice. I can't wait to carry you later on today with PUBG Mobile when we end up playing. But we are going to be casting Sandhawk. And you know what? The desk was talking about predictions, Avenger. And I'm going to ask you for your prediction, but not for who's going to be winning or who's going to be doing well. I'm going to be talking about just the points at the top, 1st place and 2nd place. Do you think the gap is going to be less than 10 points after this match?
It's a simple yes or no question. That's the kind of predictions I like. The 50-50% chance, the coin flip, the type of prediction I do the best at. I think that we're going to see Vampire close the gap and have less than 10 points up to Alpha 7 in this game. That'd be nice, because in that way, we would have a really, really, really close last game. That'd be crazy. Obviously, on Sandhawk, for the 2nd to last, or as James loved to say, the penultimate game of the day. It's Sandhawk here at PMWI Afterparty Showdown. Let's see what this brings. It's your favorite map. You love it.
It is. I'm glad I've been able to cast this map many, many times, especially over PMWI. And I was going to say, I think Alpha 7 is still going to be leading, but I think they're only going to be leading by 7 points. So I am going to.
Oh, yeah,
I
of
think
course,
it's going to be
yeah.
less
Alpha
than 10
7,
points.
7 predictions. Yeah, that would be crazy. Your favorite number is obviously also 7.
Yeah.
What else is 7? You have 7 kids too, and what all? 7
we're-
ex-wives?
Working my way up there in kids, not about the ex-wives though.
The kids you're working your way up there. Revo, 34 eliminations now after being able to close a few ones out on Karakin. Kirillio 26 and Shrebs really closely knitted after on 25. Damage as well, nearly 1,000 damage more than Action from Stalwart. Quite impressive to see Action up there. He's obviously one of the top dogs. And Mythic with 7 headshots. You like that?
Yeah, I mean, Rebel 2, 5, and then Silas from S2G. And we're actually already having a fight that we've been seeing over and over again here in Paradise. S2G, they love landing here. Are they going to be able to back off RA? And is any of these teams going to end up losing one of their players? And I was going to say, I'm with you. It's so surprising to see Action from Star Wars Esports there at the top, at least within the top 3 of the damage, because Star Wars Esports, to me at least, has been a little bit disappointing. I was really hoping that that would be one team that was going to be fighting for at least first place.
Look at this movement.
It hasn't worked. Yeah.
Working really well right now for S2G. They could be wrapping up and have that high ground on this roof. That would be really good. Of course, thanks to Sony Xperia for sponsoring here and being our official smartphone sponsor for the PMWI and Gamers8.
And for everybody watching, don't forget to watch PMWI together in-game esports center with your friends to win PMWI special sets. As we do see the fight ensuing here, Team Falcons is going to be going after them. Don't forget the PMWI packages are on sale for a limited time, and you can also win PMWI treasure crates if you play PUBG Mobile during PMWI. Suxy currently on the defense, backing up big time. Liquid actually being able to get a little bit of an angle there on one of the players from Team Falcons. And guess what? The team that is currently in last place in regards to points, 7 C's, adds another match reward to their tally. I think it was somewhere around 30K. Oh, yeah, you can see it right here. 30K after this match with that, if they don't end up getting any more. 32K. You kind of start questioning yourself. Do you really mind being in last place?
If you're winning some of the most money?
Yeah, when you actually have more money than the teams that are above you.
Yeah, all right, look at this. The 10 points difference for Alpha 7 down to Vampire is crucial, but Bigotron on 114 all the way down to 103 points on S2G. That is 5 teams within 11 points. Our middle pack is fighting for a huge chunk of change, and the difference there is $10,000, $20,000 difference if you're able to fight your way further up there. So really good for, look at this, Aladdin taking out Juni with a surprise attack. Damonkia losing 1 player early on. That's, of course, unfortunate, but good again for 7C being able to take some of those early eliminations.
7C is just being sneaky like they have been throughout this whole tournament, whether it's the duos, whether it's this kind of matches. It does not matter. They're going to continue to be sneaky. And I said it earlier, I kind of want to see more aggression out of this team. They have shown us some great, amazing plays. I mean, the visual skills, and they just haven't showed it. But guess what? In the visual skills, Ida from R8 being able to get 2 knocks right there. That's going to be an extra 2 points for R8 Esports, and Rad. It's not gonna be. It's not looking good for Rod so far, at least here at the start of Sandhawk. And as we're seeing some rotations in the map, I'm actually starting to see Bigotron get a little bit closer to Bootcamp, getting way too close to Star Wars Esports. I wonder if they're gonna want to engage. I know sometimes with this kind of players from Bigotron too, they're gonna be able to carry some momentum. They're gonna be feeling hype after that last match, especially after getting a win. They might want to continue on getting into fights and seeing if they can actually win them and continue to boost their confidence. Really intrigued to see if that's going to happen. Damn, one Kia does have some players that are trying to third party. They heard those shots from Ida, from R8 Esports. I think Forrest not able to spot anybody right away, so he's going to do the right thing and just back off.
Yeah, clever play. Coherent play style in that case. R8 Esports on screen. 1 elimination so far for them. They have had a decent showing so far, but still not in our middle pack within that striking distance of that top 3 place right now. 12 teams still remaining. Damonkia lost 1. Rat. Forrest finds ID7 and goes down 2.
What a great rotation right there from Forrest. I thought he was going to be backing off. He decided to just actually re-angle himself, being able to find the perfect angle, getting some shots there on that team. What a play, and guess what? S2G trying to third-party some of the RA players there. You can see CR7 as well. R8 not looking in a good spot. They are currently only going to have one player alive. TR7 trying to get some shots there, I believe, is on Calci. Didn't cost enough damage, and now what is CR7 going to be able to do? He does throw down some mollies. I think that was from S2G. S2G is starting to get some of the angles.
Oh.
That is going to be it for R8 Esports. And guess what? S2G does get the first team elimination and $5,000.
$5,000. That is good. I like that. The first team is just so insane. We're pouring money over these teams here, and we're loving seeing their efforts to try to go even further. Money in the bank is what these guys are here for. Let's see what these guys can do, though. Bigatron, as you see right now, on boot camp. The question is, where are we going to be ending up? We do have a far northwestern circle, and there's a chance that we might ending up on the Alpha Island. And right now, Vampire has a really good hold on to that island, so we could be seeing them closing that 10-point gap as we were talking about. Stalwart on screen. I was impressed with how good they were, especially at the main tournament, and also been impressed with their entrance. I really like Stalwart's entrance. That was really nice, starting with their backs to the camera. And now we saw, I think it was Sarang before we saw that, get the first airdrop. Kaito is in this compound. I think he's alone trying to defend it. Desha might be further down. Damankia is aggressing.
Kaito gonna just be cooking up that grenade. Can he actually confirm on this? Any types of knocks, he is gonna be able to cause some damage though. But now more than likely, Damwon Kia is gonna realize where he's at. And yep, Desha is just a little bit of the south of him on a different building.
I think they have covered each other. Like there's some like line of sights that they could be taking advantage of. Yeah. So if they push from that southern side in the compound that Damwon Kia currently has, then they have kind of a cross angle on each other. Next circle has popped, and it's looking very likely that we could be ending up on Camp Alpha. And Vampire has that high ground ruin on the top, and that could be crucial for a win or a lot of points in this game. Dead Eyes guys, Southwest, Enigma Galaxy outside in the blue, and Alpha 7 on a huge rotation coming in from the northeast. Now Kaito trying to defend this, taking some more damage. He's taking actually quite low, nearly, even further low. He's going to go down actually. Super unfortunate for that. For
Star Wars Esports? Are they the ones that currently third party in this?
I think it's multiple angles. It's both Stalwart, but also S2G that is doing this. But definitely Stalwart is on screen in that case. Desha is going to disengage from the fight completely, just try to run away. But he could be running straight towards the S2G guys.
Somehow being able to survive on that. But yeah, it's straight running into the STG guys. The STG guys not being able to confirm, and Desha just barely. No, just get in there. What are you doing?
Hide. Run.
I was going to mention, though, if Damwon Kia took too long within this fight, STG was going to be able to third party, and that's exactly what they're looking to do. And a team that I was not expecting to even get close to third party, Star Wars Esports, definitely slowed down a lot more what Damwon Kia was trying to do. And Damwon Kia, you can see, being aware now of the possible third party from Star Wars Esports, putting down some of that smoke, trying to cover their 6 and seeing what S2G and possibly the last player standing from Rod are going to end up doing.
Desha just passively playing this one out. He's on the wrong side of that bridge, though, if it goes west. C has a lot of information on Damwon Kia right now. Oh! Peekaboo finds one. Can he get first down 2? Gets first down to half HP. Song first. Last 2 players from Damwon Kia. Gets taken down by Calci on an off angle. Super well played and executed by S2G. It's just down to Song in this case. He's going to have to try to use some utility. They don't really know exactly where he is right now. As you can see, the utility is being used somewhere else. Song with the third-party peek in this case. Could potentially surprise 1 or 2 of the guys from S2G, but it definitely looks like they're going to be taking this compound over completely.
And Song now keeping an eye here on where Silas is going to be going. Hamsi is able to knock some doors. He is going to realize
DBS.
where the last player from Damwon Kia is going to be. The DBS, can he end up connecting? He is actually end up getting knocked and soon clutch up here and end up knocking another of the players. Surprisingly that he actually doesn't have any DBS by himself. He is going to continue to make the push here for Ray C. I think Star Wars Esports is still helping out in this fight, trying to cause some mayhem themselves by third party from very far away. Ray C with the DBS very close. He's going to lay down some Molotovs and try to control where Sung is going to end up going from Damwon Kia. Meanwhile, they're going to be able to slow it down a little bit, heal, and figure out what their next move is going to be. And if I'm S2G, yeah, that's exactly right. Just back off a little bit, see if you can maybe pick up your players and reset.
Definitely want to try to convert this one here. Shots are coming in on Song again. Song taking half HP again. He has to heal constantly. Soon we're going to be seeing a circle pop in 30 seconds or so, or even earlier. So I'm going to use some utility. Nade into that corner could be great. Could be hitting one or two of the players from S2G. That's a great nade. It's going to take potentially one down. No, it is not. It's going to bounce in and stay inside rather than go out the door that he was hoping for. That could have taken both of them down if it actually bounced out the door. Molotov used as well. He's limiting some movement for S2G. They cannot just run into this house in this case. QB set in hand.
Luckily for him, they aren't going to have to rotate anytime soon. They are still within that circle. But if they do, whichever team ends up surviving this, they better watch out because all those other teams that are on the other island are going to be waiting. Now you can see SCG trying to make that push again. Are they going to be, can the Damwon Kia player, Sung, can he hold them off? The DBS is going to be coming out again. And there you go, Racy able to get the finish on Damwon Kia. But Star Wars Esports making sure that they let their presence be known as they do end up knocking Racy.
Colsey just in the distance trying to hold an off angle, some information. Maybe it's because they know that Desha is still there, that they're trying to hold him out. Enigma Galaxy in the blue still. I'm expecting a heal situation. I see 8 first aids in this case. Definitely expecting that to be happening. Let's see how many they get. And a 3 backpack as well. He could be dropping bullets. He could be dropping other utility. Just give him 25 first and let's see how long he can survive for that case. Now, Vampire here, we'll talk about the high ground, is actually not going to come into that hard of an effect in this case here, because you can see as on the top right, the blue zone has moved north and has a lot of the river inside, and the bridge is still inside with Hatin too. Stalwart actually sitting in this center compound with Bigtron lurking on that south side.
S2G starting to make a push here on the last player from Rod. They have already eliminated Damwon Kia. This is going to be feel real good if they're able to eliminate. There's the last player from Rod, and they're going to do so right there.
Nice.
And it's Alpha 7 now starting to third-party fights from S2G. So many third parties going on. I'm kind of enjoying the split currently that Alpha 7 is going to be doing. But I feel like if the circle does end up going to the West Island, it's going to be a super hard rotation for Alpha 7, especially if Vampire Esports is somehow able to realign themselves, where you can actually see where the bridge, where people are going to be rotating. On top of that, you're going to have 7Cs, Star Wars Esports, and what is Bigatron going to end up doing?
You know what I would love to see? An actual bridge ending where everyone is just forced to be fighting on the bridge for the control. That would be crazy to see. I don't see it happening. It's kind of rare that we have those endings, but still would be an absolute pleasure to see. Potentially, if Bigatron is able to fight and get to be one of the last teams and then fight, there would be Alpha 7 versus Bigatron fighting for that bridge control there, and then that would be crazy. But let's see what happens here. S2G, those 7 eliminations so far, the vast majority of the eliminations in the game so far. Actually, they have half of all the eliminations so far in this game here. That's kind of crazy to see. 48 total players. 34 only remaining.
Carrillo getting spotted there by the S2G players. Making the back off a little bit. They know that Alpha 7 is currently lurking. Circle is starting to close in. Where will this circle go? Is it going to be a super toxic one? Bridge? I'm actually thinking about the little island right there. Okay, I know that's...
okay, that's crazy.
If you're thinking bridge is toxic, yeah, my toxic trait is going to definitely come out and think the little island. Please, let's see what kind of mayhem these teams are going to be able to cause. And look at the longest Ilum. 397.
Oh, bridge! I can't believe it, bro. That is insane. Holy, okay, so the question is really now, how many teams are going to be fighting on that west side? Because that is where the vast majority is right now. Alpha 7 is just going to be trying to get as many eliminations they can on that east side of the bridge. We have so many of the teams still in the west. Could Bigatron consider going back right now, actually going back to the bootcamp side and trying to swing in behind S2G? I would really love seeing that. Vampire are going to be focusing on trying to get some of those eliminations that they know are coming in from the blue right now on that western side. See still Deadeye Skies, 4 players from Deadeye Skies currently trying to get in, and Vampire is going to be trying to check for that.
I'm actually hoping Bigatron decides to full send it to Star Wars Esports. That's going to be in front of them. I'm hoping they don't decide to go for that sweep that you were talking about. I think it's going to leave them exposed way too much, especially with SCG having the high ground there. And we're already seeing what Star Wars Esports can do from that range. So I'm just hoping Bigatron fully sends it to where Star Wars Esports is. And hopefully they do it soon, because if Vampire Esports is able to position themselves here, I mean, they might end up getting some angles for that team. And Deadeyes is also going to start sneaking up. So if they are going to make a push, if they are going to make a decision, it needs to happen soon. As we do see here, Nigma Lore currently getting some shots out. And guess what? You were talking about it earlier. That man has 27 medkits. So I think he's going to definitely be going for that heal off. Meanwhile, we're having a fight there between Team Falcons and 7Cs. 7Cs hasn't really had to rotate at all. Falcons has, as they were in the, I believe they were in the southeast for a very, very long time. So I'm surprised they're currently here in Hattin. 7Cs though, trying to figure out what Team Falcons is going to be doing. They are going to be able to get this revive just in time. And 7Cs is actually going to become a little bit more aggressive, trying to figure out where the Team Falcon players, Never Alone, and the player that's currently knocked are currently at.
7C still trying to just get inside Hattin's edge here. Maybe potentially try to control it from Falcons. They must have an idea at this point where they're going to be moving. And that's really the question, is how they're going to try to do that. It's a 2-2 split for them. Or a 2-1 split for them right now.
Vampire Esports, there you go, going with the position that I was talking about. Vampire Esports might actually be able to pick up a lot of items from that position, especially if Bigatron is definitely now going to have to push the Star Wars Esports. Interesting, though. Gen Foss is making a bit of a rotation in trying to get behind Vampire Esports. If this ends up working out, he might be able to surprise him, but he needs to watch out for Schwepp from Vampire Esports, because he is covering that angle. All right, let's see. You think West? I'm going to think East.
I hope West.
West, okay.
For the sake of the last game being absolutely insane, I really hope West. Because if it goes East, Alpha 7 could close this game out and secure themselves. Really, look at that. They could secure themselves a huge game. But now they're going to have to cross the bridge. I don't see them swimming. Like, there's too many teams close to the water. So I would really like to see them fight for that bridge control over S2G. Because also, it is kind of a high ground situation for them now that Vampire doesn't have the really high ground now, with the circle being pushing them off now. 11 more first aids already using a lot, so it's really taking hard here compared to what we used to. Suxy, last player. Gonna try to get Misery up right now. Ooh, shots!
This is what I was talking about. Oh, Bigatron just took way too long to make that rotation, allow Vampire to position themselves, and on top of that, Deadeyes making their way up just way too much. They should have made that push a little bit earlier there to Star Wars Esports before the other teams were able to position themselves. And now, the big question mark here is, how is Vampire Esports going to end up rotating from this height advantage that they have, considering that Star Wars Esports is right next to them? And the longer they end up taking, Deadeyes is just going to start sneaking up on them. You can see Team Falcons currently set up. And I think Alpha 7 is going to go for a bit of a swim here. I love that they ended up setting up Mafioso there for a little bit of a distraction. So hopefully they don't hear the players swimming under. You can see Aladdin covering the bridge. And some of the other teams are currently just focused on all the five. Vampire Esports, I was talking about, how are they going to end up making that rotation?
No.
It doesn't end up working out. One of the players does end up getting knocked. Can Top get the other knock on Vampire Esports? They are. Vampire Esports ends up losing 3 players on that rotation, and it was just such a tough rotation. And guess what? While all of that was happening, Alpha 7 does end up losing some players as well.
Yeah, that's kind of important for our last match to be really close here. If Alpha 7 end up being the winner of this game, it would be rough. Ravenclaw trying to survive a little bit. Shots are coming out towards him already. That is not good. Hit's going to hit the ground and go out. Alpha 7's going to be happy for that, but they have their own problems right now. Vampire going out in 8th place by Team Falcons. Impressive to see. Now Starwater is going to be pushing into this circle here and try to take control of that bridge.
This circle go down. This circle is going to definitely benefit Alpha 7, as they're going to have the control of that bottom bridge. And then you have SCG now pushing up. Aladdin from 7Cs, holding it back too. They currently still have all of their 4 players alive. And somehow, Nigma Lore, slowly but surely, making their way up as well with Deadeyes. Alpha 7 Mythic is going to end up getting knocked. Revo being able to pick up Carrillo. Here comes the push from Star Wars Esports. This is going to be huge. 7Cs actually being able to spot there the push from Star Wars Esports, and they're going to be able to stop it. Enigma Galaxy actually being able to stop that push, as well as S2G. This is such a huge benefit right now for Alpha 7, being able to reset themselves, recover the players that were knocked, trying to figure out what they're going to do if the circle does end up moving not in their favor.
Look at that.
The AWM coming out.
Big boy gun right there. Ray's gone down. 7C's going to have an elimination. They are looking really strong right now in this case and from this angle, coming in from the north. A lot of control. 4 players alive as the only team. SG, though, they go out and they have 10 points total. That's going to be important for them. Neighbor Galaxy, 3 players alive. Alpha 7, 3 players alive. And Falcons. Ooh, that's good shots here from Spraygard. Could connect onto Revo. Does not get him down, though. Hamodi does get Carrillo down. And Alpha 7 is in a world of trouble in this case here. They have only also gotten 1 elimination so far, and the blue zone is pushing them 7.
Rio getting knocked there. Enigma Galaxy is going to spot one of the players there. Aladdin from 7C's. And guess what? Raouf is going to continue to make this push. Is he going to be able to convert? Oh, Revo misses the shots there with the DPS. And somehow Enigma Galaxy doesn't want to take a fight with bullets. They actually want to take a fight with all of this utility. They're going to go for the special eliminations. Can they actually confirm on this special elimination?
Good nades.
Being able to knock
Mythic.
the players. Mythic somehow being able to survive, and he ends up getting eliminated. Now, Enigma Galaxy continuing to make their push through. 7C's trying to defend this, trying to actually recover Aladdin that's currently knocked, and somehow Enigma Galaxy still has utilities after all of that.
That is crazy. The fight now is going to be between Enigma Galaxy and 7C Esports. Can Enigma Galaxy make a huge clutch in this moment here? They're getting 1 player down right now. Ooh, Spray got jumped down in perfect timing. So Rang is going to deny that push under the bridge. So it's going to be forced to be a fight across the bridge. And they're going to be having to... Oh, that's a really good Molotov. Raouf standing in it. He's on fire. He's going to be going down to that. Potentially, Hamadi finds 1, though. They have to turn this around now. Really good nade. Takes Raouf down. Spray guard on point with the utility.
Something that we're not keeping an eye on here. Yes, this fight's currently going on, but guess what? There is still 1 player alive from Enigma Galaxy, and if Laurie can somehow find an angle and connect some shots with the players there from 7C's before they start going down, that could be a huge difference. You can see him right there. He's currently setting himself up. Can he convert on some knocks? It is going to be 3 players. It's going to be super hard, but ultimately 7C's, guess what? The team on last place, coming up and continuing to add up that tally in regards to match rewards, adding another 10K to their tally. I know that's going to feel good for them. And interesting for 7C's, they actually went back to the original roster. I didn't think I see Scott OP right there, so wonder if they were actually just wanted to use him yesterday.
Yeah, exactly. And crazy game here in Sanak. We were hoping for the bridge. We ended up ending just west of it and it became complete mayhem. But unfortunately, it did end up being a little bit more points for Alpha 7 than it did for Vampires. So they're going to extend that lead a little bit. So last game, Alpha 7 is going to have a little bit of an advantage.
Yeah, I think our prediction was definitely way off, and I'm pretty sure, regardless though, that next match is going to be super close. But you know what? I think that Des is going to be looking to break this down with the match ranking brought to you by STC.
He's 7. He's gaming. He's 7 Worlds Gaming. But 7C Esports, the ones that take the chicken dinner. 18 points for them, 10,000 bucks in their pocket as well. Remember I said before they might have been bottom on points, but they weren't bottom when it came to money. Well, now they're definitely not going to be bottom on points. Enigma Galaxy as well gave themselves 11, but the real focus is here down towards the bottom. Alpha 7, 5 points for themselves. And unfortunately, Vampires will not be on at this front page. It's all going to come down to the final match here, gentlemen, between those 2 teams of who will take first place in this event.
Are going to be required if you want to have that fight, and who's going to be taking home first place. It's going to be a close one on Miramar, and we have seen already a Vampire dominate over on Miramar, so it's still anyone's game when it comes to taking that first place.
You would think Vampires wouldn't dominate Miramar because it's so sunny and there's not a lot of shade.
And that's the end of the analysis segment. Yeah. Thank you very much, Jason, for that one.
I'm here all day.
Yeah, that's I think they may have been sweating buckets, though, when it came to Sandhawk, and considering that Alpha 7 was going out quite late in this game, but really didn't convert too many points, right? So there was an opportunity here for Alpha 7 to kind of get a little bit more of a lead. It didn't really materialize, but they have still, I think it's like a 13-point lead or something like that.
Double digits,
yeah, I think
Well, don't worry. We'll know exactly how many points when we get into our overalls in a little bit. In the meantime, we're going to get into our highlights brought to you by Sony. And again, Shotgun's doing so much work here. And we did get to see the drop at boot camp, but I feel like we didn't get the action we were expecting between, was that Stalwart and S2G?
Yeah, I mean, we did have the... No, it was S2G versus R8 that keeps on happening every time. It's like the battle for 7K, who's going to get the first blood, who's going to get the first team squad wipeout. And S2G did come out on top of it most of the time. R8 were not really willing to take the fight, but at the end, that spot, very nadeable. And 7C had some really, really good nades. Prop to them on that one. Their utility was on point and really did get the better of the side of Nigma.
Yeah, they're split actually across Hartin as well as the bridge is kind of interesting because it's very clear that they are always keeping one on that bridge, which kind of actually stops people from moving across the bridge. And they worked out pretty well here once again. So kudos to them for being able to pull that off, considering it's a bit more of an unconventional split.
Okay, let's take a look at our match rewards here in this last one. See how much money some teams picked up. 7C, there we go. Another 3K alone added on top of their 10K. Not to mention potentially any other money they won on the second side of this. But S2G, again, another 5K for them. They're really not that high up when it comes to overall rankings, but in terms of money rankings, I think they're like third place.
Yeah, I think they could potentially also get really I don't think they can breach 100K, but I think they could get at least really close if they convert a win in this last game.
I think they would breach 100K at the end, potentially.
With also the prize pool added to it.
Yes, I feel like they got 15K for free here on Sandhawk, all things considered.
Yeah,
they were good in Paradise Resort.
Oh my gosh. Look at this.
Oh, wow,
Airdrop,
okay.
special limbs and limbs.
It's
That was a big game.
Yeah, the airdrops are actually pretty lucky because they're barely moved from Hatim, right? So it's just like,
Yeah.
what? Right on top of them. Easy 1K. I mean, can't complain.
They won over 20K that game. They definitely doubled their money up. Actually, yeah, they definitely doubled their money. I think they were like maybe 22, so maybe just under doubling.
yeah.
That's ridiculous. Again, from one match, ladies and gentlemen, they just went up from like 22 to like $40,000.
Yeah, the match before that they won was a duos, right? So you don't get that extra 10K for the chicken dinner. So they're definitely making bank on that game. Yeah, I mean, I think we expected to see potentially this a little bit more from 7C. But you know what? They find some success, and it's still, India slowly coming back in the competitive scene, in these kind of tournaments.
It would have been interesting on Sandhawk to see what they would have to have done if they had to move away from a decent chunk of Hartin, because of course the last two Sandhawks we kind of ended up around this location for them anyway. They didn't win the previous Sandhawk, if I recall correctly, but because I think it was Vampires at the very end. But I mean, they were still very high up in the Sandhawk, for sure.
Okay, let's take a look actually when it comes to our overalls with money. How much each team has won and where they currently stand. 89K for Alpha 7, 88K for Vampire. Look at this, 7C on the 6th position now.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it does. Like, one big game, and you can definitely try and climb up the rankings in terms of money alone. BTR did exactly the same thing before that game over on Karakin, so no big surprise. You can still see a big leap forward from Damwon and Stalwart if they can close it off, but as we said, this last game, big focus on Alpha 7 and Vampire.
And besides Vampire doing what they did at the beginning of today, there has been a far more varied day compared to our previous 2 days. Of course, we saw multiple chicken dinners from multiple teams in the previous ones, but today, this time around, new winners. Good opportunities.
Yeah. Always happy to see that coming on through for some of these guys. Down at the bottom, though, anyone can still potentially take home like 15, 20K. R8 Esport, Rad, Deadeyes guys, not the best presence in this event so far. But if you can get a little check for 20K on the one game alone, it will be fantastic to see.
Yeah, it would be, and we are going into the last game of the day as well. So if you want to have any chance to pick up any extra moolah, it's got to happen right now. It's got to happen over to Miramar, which maybe we should turn our eyes towards, but not before taking a look actually at Vampires and guess who?
Alpha 7.
Alpha 7 in their head-to-head across this entire event in terms of totals here. And you can see Alpha 7 definitely winning when it comes to eliminations and the damage. But the thing is, Vampire Esports, they've been putting themselves in those positions to win games much more often than Alpha 7.
Yeah, and I think we also saw, especially at the start of the day, that in terms of damage, a lot of that coming from their utility. They threw like, what, 40, 50 more grenades in second place at one point at the start of the day. Like, their utility game is on point. If you breach them, they're always going to have nades available, and that is why a lot of their breaches work out, is because they have that utility from the start until the very end of the game.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, now that you make me recall that, because I think at the start of today, I think it was 136 grenades thrown. And that doesn't even count smokes, which was 100 and some as well, where Alpha 7 have been using them very effectively to make crosses on roads, etc., and things like that. As Jason drops his pen in the distance, and we continue on here. But Vampire, as Jason astutely said before, they have been looking far more to find a location to stage their game from, where Alpha 7 has fought into some of these situations very, very well.
Yeah, and we need to dive actually into our overall stands. You can see we have 2 minutes and 25 seconds left, and we need to show this because we need to remind you guys at home how close it is right now between first and second place. 13 points. Vampire Esports I mean, they need to get to the late stage. They have to depend on that. The question maybe for me is, will they potentially hot drop Alpha 7 to, control their fate, or they hope some other team takes them down?
That's the thing, right? You sort of need Alpha 7 to go out relatively early or really
Yeah.
not convert on many eliminations, and it's going to be difficult.
That's the thing, like, a Vampire, even if they get a win and Alpha 7 get nothing, they're still not going to be able to overtake that position. So they need to have a big conversion game in terms of eliminations. If you're a hot dropper team that has not been able to find early fight success, you can do that. Some teams have been doing it in the past few games, but it's going to require a big performance from Vampire and also a bad performance from Alpha 7.
Looking down, though, towards the bottom teams, right, Rod and R8, in terms of money, what stops them from hot dropping one of these top teams just to mess with them? Because for them, realistically, moving up the leaderboards isn't going to make you as much money as getting some of these match rewards for your team. And that's what you should be focused on right now if you're one of those two teams. So potentially dropping in on one of them, potentially dropping in on a weaker team that they perceive, they can make some extra moolah.
Yeah, I don't know. I would not expect a team to go for a hot drop to try and mess with one of the top teams, right? I think you want to maybe make sure you can get the win and get... I think those Chicken Dinners 10K is very appealing. So I would think that teams will mostly focus on that instead of trying to ruin a chance for Vampire or Alpha 7.
I mean, you're not wrong, but we haven't seen them even really get close that many times, if any at all, of getting a chicken dinner here. But with 50 seconds left to go, I'm going to remind you guys once again, Aramco, Saudia, Dr. Suleiman Al Habib, all big sponsors here to make this event possible for us, as well as a Savvy Gaming Group. Because without them, this would not be possible. These teams, or Alpha 7 in particular, would not be able to make over $100,000 for just one tournament. Vampire Esports would have been possible to make over $600,000 from one tournament. Well, technically, it's technically one tournament, but two little events inside of it.
Right.
But it is time to head into our final match of the day. But really quickly, you have one match left to get your favorite moment screenshotted and posted with the hashtag PMWI shots and potentially win yourself a PUBG mobile statue. So Avenger and Seven Worlds Gaming, for the last time today, take us away.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is going to come down to the last match. It's not the 10-point gap or less that we're talking about or predicting, but it's still possible, okay? As they were saying, if Alpha 7 goes off early and Vampire Esports goes to having a great game, as we have seen over and over again from this team in the past 2 weeks, I think Vampire Esports might be able to pull it off. But the question becomes, Martin, is anybody going to hot drop Alpha 7 or Vampire Esports?
Yeah, that's a big question. But with all those things you just said, the only thing going on in my mind was just this. And it's just this annoying jingle we've had. And it's 7. He's gaming. It's 7 Worlds Gaming. He's 7. He's gaming. It's 7 Worlds Gaming. We are here on Miramar, though, for the last game of the Afterparty Showdown. But the most important thing I want to point out here is 3rd place and down to 8th place is 12 points difference. And that is going to be huge in terms of how many placement points you can get out of this game and how many elimination points you get out of this game, because that is going to jump you up potentially $25,000 if you're able to skip over 5 teams or 4 teams, for that matter. And that's a really huge one. But of course, the fight at the top is interesting. And I think there's more to it than just the match elimination and match rewards you're going to be able to get. Being able to get a win in a tournament sized like this here with $1 million on board, I think that is the prestige of it, the pride of it is bigger than the money they're able to pick out of this last game here. So I definitely think our 2 top teams is going to be looking at fighting out to the very end. But for me, the most important thing is obviously that fight at the top. But those 5 teams in our mid-pack within 12 points difference is huge. And another thing that's huge is that huge circle super far east that only has right now a team and a half inside.
A lot of water on that circle, and I'm glad you mentioned that too, right? It's not just about getting first place, it's about the prestige of being able to win an event like this. And from me being able to talk with Alpha 7 Esports, this is something that they've been looking forward to do, just getting their first global LAN under their belt. They have felt like it's a curse for the longest time. I know Carrillo's looking to just establish himself as this dominant feature. He wants to be, just compare a little bit with Paraboy, at least the Paraboy of the Americas, you could call Carrillo. So it's going to be interesting if they are going to be able to do it. But you know what? This is the last match. Don't forget, watch PMWI together in-game esports center with your friends to win PMWI special sets. And while you're at it, PMWI packages are on sale for a limited time. And you can also win PMWI treasure crates if you play PUBG Mobile during PMWI. And talking about match rewards, I think Team Falcons, never alone, going to be looking to collect that 2K. And he's going to be able to do just that. He is able to eliminate one of the players there from RA Esports. But with Alpha 7, what happened before is like, I felt like they were just so cursed in global events. I mean, it's not over. It's still, it could still happen to this team. I'm not hoping it does. And you can see the way they're going to be playing. They're currently doing a big rotation from the south. Going to be trying to make it all the way up to Impala. And ultimately, where is the circle going to end up heading?
That's a big question. I always love this map for all the macro that it has, but this is going to be really rough. A lot of pressures coming in from that west side. But right now on Falcons and R8 fighting each other. Damar, Yusuf setting them up for this push onto ID7. He's going to try to isolate one fight here on Damar. Damar does not take the bait, and Yusuf is coming in for the help. Damar takes the fight in his own hands with a beautiful barrel push. And now the BM comes in, and Falcons takes down an R8 player.
And while we had that fight going on, Bigatron does end up losing one of their players to 7C. 7C is feeling a little bit confident there after that last match. They are currently in Picado. Bigatron hindering their chances there. Keep in mind, they were able to jump up to third place after that last match, though. They are currently in fourth place. And you were talking about how close, I mean, honestly, how close it is from third place all the way down, you could say, to 7th and 8th place. Having a good game here can definitely change it. I'm looking at them, one Kia. They're currently sitting in 7th place with 109 points.
Yeah.
I could see them possibly surprise Team Falcons. And I mean, going from 6th to 3rd, you know they're going to love that, and they're going to be able to put it on their Twitter bio.
Yeah, exactly. That's the big thing, right? The Twitter bio. The trophies that you're able to put in the bios is the most important thing.
This flex.
Now, yeah, it's the flex, the good flex. 7C. Really love what I've been seeing with the comeback here, especially today with the amount of prize pool that we're able to snatch out of the match rewards. That's beautiful. And here you see the after party showdown points as we were talking about again and again and again. Alpha 7 and Vampire in the very top with Falcons, Bigatron, S2G, Stalwart, Damonkia, and Nigma Galaxy fighting for that huge middle pack. And again, we're talking $25,000 prize pool difference. It is huge if some of these teams are able to have a big last game here.
Yeah, it is, and I'm pretty sure with the last game, a lot of these other teams are going to be looking to get at least some of those match rewards. It's not as important as the fight currently going on at the top, but, I mean, it looks Vampire Esports is going to be a little bit towards the center there of the circle that we currently have. Alpha 7's already in the circle, and looking at the rotation, if for some reason the next circle does end up going a little bit towards the north, they might end up running into Dead Eyes, and depending on where Bigatron is going to end up rotating here, it could be a bit of a hard rotation for Alpha 7. We'll have to wait and see. I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself here, trying to figure out what all these teams are going to be doing. It's going to definitely be a nail-biter, and I'm glad to be here with you, Adventure.
Yeah, it's going to be a huge game. Happy to be here as well with you, my friend, and we're going to be seeing some absolutely insane fights here for the next couple of minutes. So you guys just hold out and hold on to your horses. Let's see how this one ends up being wrapped together. A lot of teams are prioritizing the loot right now outside the zone. Not that many teams trying to get into the first zone because it doesn't matter too much. The third zone is where it's at. That is the important one, especially for the settings we're playing here. The players are not as used to these circle sizes as are to the normal one. As they has been adjusted, now they're only playing 12 teams. So they are faster, they're smaller, and they do more damage when they're staying in blue for too long. Nigma Galaxy inside El Paso, one of my favorite places to loot. There's so much loot in there. You get absolutely stacked to the teeth with everything you want and need. 4 smokes, 4 grenades, and 1 Molotov here for Hamodi. Full level 2. We didn't find any level 3 key, unfortunately. But still, most preference setup here is definitely in hand on him already.
Nigma Galaxy definitely one of those teams that can make the push to the top 3 as they are sitting in 8th place with 109 points, tied with M1 Kia. And now let's see what this circle is going to end up going. I was talking about it earlier. Alpha 7 making a rotation north. They're going to end up running into Dead Eyes.
East.
Great to see if they're going to end up fighting.
Into the water. Into
or
the water.
Alpha 7.
Into the water. Into the water.
Oh,
Further east.
You're the one that's being toxic now? Okay, I'm with it. Let's see if we actually end up getting an East. Oh, and we do!
Oh, look at that.
We might end up getting an Impala finish, which for this, I mean, that's going to be wild.
Yeah, and with Alpha 7 already in there, you know, Jason, he wanted to give them the trophy already on one of the first days. I believe the second day when they continued to win. I really love what we've been seeing from Vampire, them being able to jump back into things, being able to try to take another trophy, and that would be insane for them to do. but right now it's definitely looking like an Alpha 7 advantage. 13 points ahead with Circle center advantage for Alpha 7. Vampire sitting on the west side of Impala, so if the Circle goes a little bit slight further to the northwest, they would have a huge compound here to be able to play.
And Alpha 7 actually deciding to kind of back off from Impala. I think they might have heard Dead Eyes there.
Or they're afraid that it goes to the islands underwater.
Yes, that, or they might be afraid too that it might go down to Puerto Paraíso. So they're currently positioning themselves between those two cities and also right next to those islands. And guess what? I was talking about it earlier. Bigatron is going to position themselves now between Alpha 7 and Dead Eyes. Dead Eyes currently just looting everything going around. You can see Vampire Esports a little bit outside of Impala, trying to figure out who's currently in Impala and if they can maybe try to take that city, try to take some buildings, try to take that advantage, because if they are for some reason able to take Impala and the Circle ends up there, it's going to benefit them in a big way. And I mean, it wouldn't be the first time that we do see Vampire Esports making some of those moves, or as well getting lucky with the zone in that kind of way.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Bigatron, what can you do here? Can you secure that third place? That'll be huge for you guys to be able to redeem yourself in this case. Definitely a huge setup for Alpha 7 on this longhouse building with some high ground control on Mafioso and Revo too.
Oh.
Kaito goes down, he gets knocked. I'm pretty sure he's going to be able to be picked up quite safely over by Minas Gerais. It's a 3x on an M16, not the most optimal setup, but Mythic has a 3 helmet and a 3 vest. That is 55% damage reduction from incoming bullets compared to the 40% that the level 2 offers and 30% that the level 1 offers.
Yeah, with the M16, I mean, you can do the burst or you can do the single fire. I personally prefer the single fire, yeah, just because my aim is not like that. But if I'm Mythic, I'm pretty sure he does have the burst as that. It might not be optimal, but it can definitely knock people. And we do have a crate there going towards the water and the Circle closing in. This is going to be huge for these teams. Yes. Who is this Circle going to bless? And are we going to be getting those islands? I kind of want to see the islands now, okay? We've been hyping it up. We have had a crazy past 2 weeks. Why not? Final match. Throw it to the islands, please.
That would be insane. If it goes east. No. Oh, perfect island. This is okay. This could not be better in terms of competition.
Yep. Right
now, Vampire is chasing. Alpha 7's outside the zone, and Vampire is holding on to 2 of the best compounds in this current circle here. And you see on the map, there's so much pressure coming in from that east side and from that west side, but still a lot of the compounds in the center is open for business.
They are going to be open for business, and they are going to have to be careful because Dead Eyes now is going to try to make a little bit of a push towards the south buildings of Impala, and you can see Bigatron starting to relook at themselves. RA Esports, there is a lot of the teams still alive. We haven't lost any teams yet. We have lost a couple of players. You can see Team Falcons there taking on some shots on RA Esports. Interesting to see what's going to happen. See a Rot trying to figure out if they're maybe going to go for the compounds of where Vampire Esports is at. You can see Bigatron a little bit towards the east of where Vampire Esports is at, and then Alpha 7 now getting themselves into the zone, playing it super slow. For Alpha 7, all you have to do is just worry about that placement points, but I know Alpha 7, at some point, they're going to want to get into that action. RA Prestige getting some shots on himself, and I think he might have been able to spot one of the players there from Bigatron. Is he going to try to take some shots? And actually, Vampire Esports being able to take some shots to the Bigatron player, Genfoss. And this is going to be huge. Another point there for Vampire Esports. And if they continue like this, this could be even bigger. They might end up seeing a lot of teams rotating around, trying to get those cheeky points from some of the other teams rotating. And it could change a lot of what happened here. And then Alpha 7 is going to be just forced to be a little bit more aggressive.
Yeah, this is interesting. 13-point lead still, as you see on the very top. Not sure if it's fully updated yet, but I definitely think that's what we started on. The question is, how many points have both the teams gotten so far? Doesn't look like they were able to confirm that point, but let's see that when we check in with them later. I do like the compound that they decided to stick with. 4 guys strong, dead center, super strong situation for Vampire. If they get another string towards them, they're going to be happy. And as you see from our fantastic stage here, a lot of Falcon supporters in the crowd.
A lot of Falcon supporters and a lot of R8 supporters as well. I got a chance to see it yesterday, and everybody was going crazy when they ended up getting that win in the final show match. Alpha 7 now starting to do a 2-2 split, trying to figure out where they're going to end up rotating after this circle closes. And you can see Deada's decided to just fully abandon Impala, getting a bit of a compound. They are going to be positioning themselves a little bit better, closer to the center of this current circle. Most eliminations, Revo 34, Carrillo 27, and Schweppes 26. And what's impressive, I'll say it again, I said it earlier, Action, being able to maintain himself. He was the MVP last week. Guess what? He was trying to hunt that that trophy down again because he's currently second in regards to damage output.
Ooh, this is a huge one. Okay, so
Wow.
Rod with that center compound in the field, and it's a really, really big compound. So you can breach it quite easily, but you have to have one of your edges safe for that. So you have to play slowly into the compound from that western side. Then Galaxy moving Rauf really low. Damonkia putting a lot of pressure onto these teams for this high ground spot.
Some tires getting popped there from the buggy of Enigma Galaxy. S2G trying to figure out what all the commotion was there between Enigma Galaxy and Damwon Kia. Meanwhile, Alpha 7 is going to try to do a rotation a little bit towards the west, but they're going to have to be careful because there is two teams there. As we can see, Omba, I think, getting some full damage on himself. Team Falcons defense trying to make the push. Even though they might not be able to get that first place, they want to maintain the top three once again. Here in Saudi Arabia, Riyadh PMWI After Showdown Party. This has been just an amazing tournament, and it's going to be even a better finish. Alpha 7 positioning themselves now. We're going to be able to look at S2G, who's going to be able to get the first knock. It is going to be a huge engagement. Meanwhile, Vampire Esports trying to relocate themselves a little bit more towards the center of the circle and a little bit towards the north. And then you can see Luxy right here in the middle of everything, trying to use those hay bales, trying to use his buggy for his advantage. He is going to have to move around. I think he was spotted by some of the other teams. Luxy and Suxy, the twins. We have seen them clutch it before when it's just them two. And I'm pretty sure Vampire Esports and Alpha 7s, the ones that are currently fighting for that top spot, are going to be looking at this. Luxy not being able to currently find a spot where he's just fully covering. I think Alpha 7 is becoming a little bit impatient here. They are going to try to find a way to get inside that circle. Taking out some shots, and Bigatron getting eliminated by Enigma Galaxy.
Yeah, that's huge because they're defending that fourth place from all the other teams just a few points from them, so they could be falling down super far with that. If we see S2G, Stalwart, or Damwon Kia, or Enigma Galaxy even have a big game, then they could take over that spot from Bigatron. Shot from Vampire. Might have an idea that this could be Alpha 7, so they're focused on that. Alpha 7 fighting with S2G now for this terrain. It's important.
Huge fight right here. Mephisto was being able to hold the off angle earlier when S2G was trying to just knock Carrillo. They weren't able to. Is Mephisto going to be able to survive this? You can see Vampire Esports trying to figure out, are we going to third party this? Are we going to go for the extra points? And they might be thinking about it because they're going to go up this ledge. Alpha 7 trying to be careful here, getting some shots. Revo almost getting knocked. S2G is going to have a bit of an advantage, and the grenades are going to start raining down. Revo getting knocked by S2G, and they're going to be looking to confirm that Ilum. Ray C, can he connect with this other nade? I don't think he's going to be able to. Mythic also getting knocked from now Damwon Kia. Alpha 7 finding themselves in a horrible spot. All the players from Alpha 7 currently going down. Alpha 7 sitting with 0 points. There you go. Kasi being able to get the finish. Vampire Esports is looking promising as Alpha 7. All the players continue to go down.
Vampire, they are lurking. Alpha 7 was ready with the wooden stick to pump it straight into the heart of Vampire. They're saying no. They want to finish this off and try to go for the win. Schweppes gets a Revo knock, or the finish, I think it was, yeah. Carrillo, Mythic, last two players. Can they finish this one out?
That smoke is about to go away. 2 players now alive from Alpha 7. Can they defend this push from Vampire Esports? They're also getting third party, but Damwon Kia, S2G, still on the horizon too. And the circle starting to close in, which is going to make Vampire Esports back off a little bit. It's going to force Damwon Kia to also go down from that mountain that they were on. This might be the opening that Alpha 7 is looking to have. You can see Carrillo trying to get some shots, and S2G just waiting patiently. Alpha 7 making a push on a buggy. Mythic, the only player alive from Alpha 7. Is he going to be able to survive this? I don't think he's going to be able to survive this. Currently 5 HP for him. The car is smoking. He needs to get out of that vehicle and find a place.
Oh.
Alpha 7 gets eliminated with 0 points. Vampire Esports, this is your game to win. The only problem is with that was how much time they took to see what was going on with that fight. Now they're going to have to push onto this circle, and it's going to be very difficult because that one Kia is going to have some angles on their rotation as well.
Oh, Stone gets knocked, and this is exactly what you're talking about here. This delay could mean that Vampire does not have the time to do so. Hams is trying to do everything he can to do this off. Let's see what happens with this case. Fluke trying to defend this angle here, in this case here. Let's see what happens. Vampire with 3 eliminations so far.
Vampire Esports, 3 eliminations, and they need 13 points. So that's something that we're going to be looking at very, very closely. Can they confirm on that? Can they somehow be able to make 13 points? I mean, 3 right now. If they're able to get some kind of chicken dinner, they might be able to. We see some of the other fights going on. Them one, Kia, Enigma Galaxy.
Stoned.
This is going to be huge for Vampire Esports. On by coming in late. Schwepp trying to throw down some smoke. Ravenclaw as well. Looking to third party anything here. Then able to actually collect another Ilum. Vampire Esports continues on, and now they're going to have to make another push towards the circle. They've been blessed with the zone many times, and guess what? Right now, it's not blessing them. 7Cs, a team that got a chicken dinner earlier today. They're trying to continue on that hot streak. They're trying to continue to add those match rewards.
Schweppes go down. That is huge. Schweppes goes down. Vampire Esports trying to recoup from this rough situation on that southwestern side. Stalwart out in 8th place, and now the placement point starts coming in here. We see a little bit of replay while the rest of the fights are coming in. It is Deadeye's guys on Rat in a huge fight with a lot of utility being spent. Sadat with a good push from that replay. Now really the fight here with Rat. Munir is the last player alive. Falcon's trying to push, he's trying to defend. He finds one, but he gets taken down. And that's gonna be Rat taken down. This could be the game that Vampire is able to close out and win the PMWI Afterparty Showdown. 3 players alive, 5 eliminations, and there's only 4 teams left. That means they have 9 points total so far.
Vampire Esports trying to get those 13 points that they need. Can they clutch it out? They were able to reset. They were able to pick up that player that was knocked and take advantage of the fight that was going on earlier between all of the other teams. You can see Team Falcons there using that pickup ability to relocate the player. Vampire Esports trying to find a way. They are now at least on the edge of the circle here, trying to get some shots into people. 7Cs now making their way up. Vampire Esports, the composure. Are they going to be able to keep it here when it matters the most?
They have
5
points
already. Yep.
2 players inside the new circle here. This could be insane for them. While all the other teams trying to fight for that northern side terrain, they're just holding on. Ravenclaw also has a bus that he could potentially be...
Ravenclaw going to actually make a little bit of a push there with the bus. They need to be careful. 7Cs is very close. Meanwhile, some fights between RA and Falcons. This is going to benefit in a big way for Vampire Esports. I'm pretty sure they're looking to see what's going to happen with that fight. And if they can somehow possibly third-party this, and that's exactly what they're going to be doing here with Schwepp. Looking to third-party this. He's able to spot Damar. Can he get the knock on Damar? That's going to be an extra point. If he's able to knock him and confirm on that too. Yusuf gets knocked by the play zone.
Damar, last player.
Prestige. Sarang getting knocked there. Yusuf getting eliminated. Vampire Esports getting closer and closer to that first place, ladies and gentlemen. Vampire Esports getting even more Ilums. Now in 3rd place, at least 3rd place guaranteed. 13 points. Remember, that's what they need. 13 points to be able to take 1st place away from Alpha 7. Can it happen here? Can they win week 1 of PMWI? And can they win week 2 in the After Party Showdown? RA Esports now going up against 7Cs. 2nd place. Can Vampire Esports win this game?
They need to win. They need to win this game for them to win the whole thing. Can they do it? They only have 6 eliminations. It's 2nd place. It's 12 points total. They need 2 more eliminations all the way. And they find one. Ravenclaw finds Spray God here with a huge knock and a headshot.
Ravenclaw being able to get a knock right there. Salmon is going to be by the ankles. He's actually going to end up knocking Ravenclaw. Now it's going to end up at 2v2, and here comes the push.
Oh, he finds
Fluke getting a knock on 7-6. Now they're going to make a full push here to 7-6. Can Vampire Esports close it out with the win? You can see them trying to actually confirm that elimination. Schwab, Fluke, Ravenclaw is currently down. Can Vampire Esports connect this? It's going to come down to a 2v2. Here comes the utility from 7Cs. Ooh, connecting barely there with Schwab. You can hear the crowd going crazy. We're going crazy here. 7Cs is going to end up getting pushed by the circle here. Vampire Esports is going to have a bit of an advantage. You can see Fluke looking around, making sure he evades all of that utility right now by 7Cs.
Ravenclaw still knocked. It's a 2 versus 2 effectively, and utilities coming out here. Fluke and Shrep both on half HP. Sarang and Spraygard is trying to make this clutch happen, but if they can confirm... Oh,
Ravenclaw getting
down,
knocked there by Spraygard. It's now going to be Schweb. Can Schweb clutch this up? We've seen some 1v2s before being clutched up. He's spotted. He's going to get knocked down. Fluke actually being able to get one knock. It's Vampire Esports, ladies and gentlemen, being able to get the win. The final match of PMWI Afterparty Showdown. They clutch it up. They show why they are the champions of Week 1 and now the champions of Week 2. Vampire Esports absolutely shocking.
Amazing scenes. I cannot believe they're able to make this dream run happen on the very last situation. Vampire Esports back-to-back PMWI main event and after-party showdown winners.
I can't wait to see what the desk is gonna have to say. It's been a pleasure to be here casting this last game. Jason, take it away.
Ladies and gentlemen, Vampire Esports have won the main event with $500,000, and they've won the after-party showdown. They are your all-star PMWI champions.
Actually unbelievable what we saw here in this final game, as well as they raised the trophy. This was a performance of a lifetime from weekend to weekend, and in this last game as well, tense moments were able to provide them the victory with all of this. We were screaming in the back room here. They just technically needed that one last flush, even if they didn't get the win, but still they went for all the marbles. Absolutely amazing.
I have never felt this much pressure in one single match of PUBG Mobile esports in a long time, and for Team, we didn't know how they would perform on this international stage. They get the 2 trophies back to back, and they put their region on the map when it comes to international play.
Vampire Esports, congratulations, you are the PMWI Afterparty Showdown champions here at Gamers8. First of all, I have to say, an incredible story to come back from 27 points down at the beginning of the day to now the victory of the entire competition. I have to ask you, what does this mean to you and your team?
ก็มันมีความหมายกับเรายังไงก็สำหรับถ้วยนี้คือหรือว่ารายการเนี้ยมันรายการของผมครับผมพวกผมคือพูดกับตัวเองเสมอครับถ้วยนี้จะไม่ให้ใครทีมหรือว่าทีมไหนได้ไปแน่นอนครับ
So he said this tournament is our tournament, so this
for light is a very common COD phrase. They
trophy belong to us, so we don't give anyone else except us.
ألف مبروك الفريق فامباير اي سبورت. زي ما احنا